Hello, Chris.
Hiya, Julie.
Hello. Um, just for people to know, I'm Julie Gale. I'm the founder and admin of a Facebook group, which has a long title of, I have to try and think of it, LCHF Paleo Keto Support UK Group.
That sounds about right.
That's about right. When I started it, I wasn't certain what to call it. So I put it all in because I didn't want any to be one particular thing. I wanted to be able to people come in and see anything. So that's why we got that long name, just in case. Now, I'm going to introduce you to Chris, who is a moderator. Thank you very much, Chris, for doing that job for us.
No problem.
He's one of our moderators. We've got two. And we might do an interview with the other one at another time. I think is a good idea, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, at the moment, we're going to talk about Chris and how he came into this way of eating, or sometimes known as WOE, which is rather a silly name, but there you go. And he's going to tell us how he came into it, I hope. So just give us a few introductory notes then.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. Well, back in October 2015, my wife had a heart attack, Heather, and it was nearly fatal. In fact, they did have to bring her back with a defibrillator. So back at home after this all happened, we was given the usual advice of eat less fat, lower the cholesterol, that type of thing. She visited the doctor and come home and says, oh, by the way, I'm also type 2 diabetic. As if it was, something unrelated. And at the time we thought she got two conditions. So I know a little bit about the diabetes side because my father became diabetic in the mid-70s. And the advice to him then was to reduce your carbohydrates, which, as we know, is pretty much sensible and the only way of reversing diabetes. Obviously, things have changed now with the advice that we're given. So I looked into the low carb side of things, and I thought we'll deal with the heart disease thing later. And I looked on Diet Doctor. That was probably one of the first sites that I looked at. And
good site, isn't it?
Yeah, very good site.
It's worth anybody starting.
Yeah, definitely.
To point out Diet Doctor.
Yeah, excellent site. And on there I came across an interview by Ivor Cummins, fellow engineer, and he was explaining things from a nuts and bolts perspective, and I sort of got that. And I went onto his blog and saw a video called The Cholesterol Conundrum, and it pretty much explained it all in layman's terms. She didn't have two conditions as I originally thought. There was just one. The heart disease, the diabetes, it was both caused by hyperinsulinemia, insulin resistance. Once I knew that, it was pretty easy to figure out where things had gone wrong. So we altered the diet to be more ancestral, so more meats, more natural fats, less of the processed carbohydrates. In fact, we've totally cut them out. So the three big ones I think of is sugar, grains, and seed oils, such as, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, that type of thing. And within 6 months, her HbA1c was back down into the non-diabetic range. She was no longer diabetic. Her cholesterol, although the total cholesterol has gone up, the ratios, the good figures, have considerably improved. Her HDL has doubled and the triglycerides have halved. So totally in the right direction.
We don't get much of these things from British doctors, do we? When we go and have these tests and things, they're not so good at giving us all these things. You might not even get an HDL. So you were lucky to get all those things, and the triglycerides. I've never had triglycerides, ever.
No.
Ever.
We tend to have them in the standard cholesterol test, but your doctor probably won't tell you the figures.
I've asked for them, but they'll say they're not there.
Yeah,
they say HDL I've managed to get, but just as a point that in this country, getting these things that you're talking about is not so easy.
No, not at all.
not so easy to understand or get from your doctor. And as you say, when you ask for them, they look at you in horror.
Yeah, of course.
One of those. So you were lucky with that then, on getting those right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, they do miss the one big one out. No doctor I know of measures fasting insulin levels. If that was measured from 20s, 30s onwards, we'd have a good idea of where you're heading. I mean, type 2 diabetes can be diagnosed decades before it, manifests itself. So why it's not been done is beyond me.
So we call on all doctors to begin to open up to these tests and open up to telling your patients the results of these things.
Exactly.
Rather than hiding behind it all, which it seems to be at the moment. I know it takes time.
Yeah.
I know that they only have 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, an insulin test, I've looked it up to do one privately, is £120.
Exactly.
If that saves somebody's life, £120 well spent.
Exactly. It's well spent. Yes. We're not very good these days of thinking where to go privately. I know I wouldn't know where to go. I'd have to look it all up.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same. The other one's the CAC scan that Ivor Cummins.
Exactly. Yes.
It sees the disease. I mean, a long time, 10 years before you get a heart attack, you can see the disease progressing. Why that one?
I found one place, and that was in Liverpool.
Yeah, I think that's the one I saw.
And that was a couple of £100, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's about £500 to get one done in this country.
Yeah. No, I think that one was 200 when I looked it up.
Right, okay.
I had a funny feeling it was 200, but it may have changed when I...
Yeah.
Anyway, so you managed to get this working well for your wife.
Yeah.
And getting everything down. Is she well now?
Oh, yeah. The diabetes is totally reversed.
Yeah. And did this make it look, did it make you look at yourself?
Did it make, I followed the same diet because we weren't going to start cooking 2 meals a day. But
did you think about your own health, first of all? Did it make you look at that?
I did. And I had a lot of health improvements that I didn't think I was going to have. I got out of the engineering side of things, the hands-on side of the industry, due to severe arthritis in my back 15 years ago. Now I have no pain. That had disappeared within 6 months of changing the diet. And incidentally, I lost 3.5 stone in the best part of possibly in the first 6 to 8 months, which has been maintained.
Yes, that is the thing. On this way of life, way of eating, it is maintained. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of the other diets out there, the slimming clubs. Yes, they work, but they'll only work for 6 months or so, and then people put it back on because you can't eat 800 calories a day forever. It's just not sustainable.
Anyway, so from there, you, like many of us, wanted to help other people?
Yes, yeah.
Question mark?
And that's probably what led to my involvement with the public health collaboration.
So give us some information on that, where it started, where, if people want to know something about it, some suggestions.
Yeah, public health collaboration was started by Sam Felton, professional personal trainer, who was seeing the people coming to his gym and that get sicker and sicker. I mean, they couldn't outrun a bad diet. The exercise alone wasn't helping, so he looked into it, got a bunch of doctors and advisors together. I think one of the original members was Rangan Chatterjee. We have Asim Malhotra on board, David Unwin and Jen, and a few others whose names I'm going to, I've forgotten right now. No. And they formed this organisation to get the real evidence out there, the up-to-date evidence from trials that were done.
Trials that public health collaboration has done?
No.
From trials that have been done.
Yeah. Yes. Which tend to get cherry-picked, if you ask me.
Yes.
the information's out there, and Zoe Harkham is an absolute expert
Excellent.
at
Yes.
digging into these things and
Yes.
actually saying what they really mean. Yes,
exactly. Yes, always worth. I started with Zoe Harkham. That was where I began. The one I found that was very British people.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of American stuff on, which I don't mind at all. I watch it all. But it's very difficult for telling somebody what to do and making it British food.
Yeah.
Where to start on it. That's a side that interested me.
Yeah.
So they have meetings and things, and you have to join.
Yeah, you don't have to join. You can support them. We have a website, phcuk.org, and all the information is on there.
We can put that underneath
on
Facebook. Not Facebook. Well, on Facebook, yes, but on.
I'll pop it in the show notes once I've done the video.
Yes.
You can join us. I'm not quite sure what the fee is for becoming a paid up member now, but it's not compulsory. We don't have meetings as such. We have ambassadors around the country. I represent Bradford North. We've got quite a few ambassadors around this area. If anybody wants to get in touch with a local ambassador, on the website there's a map, and we can get in touch with you and give you advice.
So did you volunteer to be an ambassador?
I did, yeah. After I'd followed their Facebook page, they were asking for people to help and become ambassadors. I sent my application in. It was just after I'd had my interview on Diet Doctor with Ivor Cummins. So Sam saw my video.
They picked it up.
I had an interview with him, and he accepted me. Did a short introduction course in Warrington. And we started from there.
Yeah. Do you meet any of the other ambassadors at all?
We do. We've got a few local. Low Carb Leeds has just been started up by a couple of the ambassadors over in Leeds. That's Glyn and Sarah. Low Carb Skipton, that's been going for a few years. A couple of the other ambassadors from Keighley area and Skipton and Steeton, that sort of way on, they'll come to those meetings. So we do meet up in various places. But sort of having formal meetings, not so much. We sort of get together at different events.
Yeah. I sort of feel that people who are not in UK, and we do have quite a few on our group that are not, and if we put this up on YouTube, there'll be where he's talking about is in what we call the Midlands and North England, whereas I live on the south coast. So it's all up there, and Skipton is a lovely place.
It is.
I went there on holiday, and it is a lovely little market town. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. I don't know the other one that you mentioned.
Yeah, they're all sort of around my area,
around
the West Yorkshire area.
Yes. And this is to try to bring home to ordinary people that the processed food we are eating as normal food these days is killing us.
Basically, yes.
I'm putting it bluntly.
Yeah, but it's on the mark, is that? Yeah. This food we've never eaten for thousands of years. We've just suddenly started eating it, and we've got sick. So it's obvious where the disease is coming from.
And what we're trying to put in its place is what we call eat real food.
Yes, definitely.
Now that means then that it is fruit as fruit, not made into something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Or even coming away from things that might seem difficult for people, like bread. Yeah. Because I had to come away from bread entirely.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Well, 6 months in, you don't miss it, really.
No, but it is a bit frightening to say to people, so you've got to be able to put it in a way that starts them off just realising a little bit that you've got to change the way your lifestyle eating is, and then that's what you're trying to do, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was trying to do in starting this group.
Yeah.
I say I'm the founder of it. It's exactly that, but by putting up things that that I go and try and find something new every day, that somebody else somewhere, a doctor like Dr. Perlmutter or Diet Doctor or Dr. Berg or other people like Ivor Cummings, and they put up things like, we're going to put this up, and I try and find different things that are going to be of interest, and people can come in and ask for help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, do you get people coming directly to you now for help?
I do. I mean, I even get people at work asking me advice. I do get emails. I mean, my email's out there on the PHC website, so I do get emails from people locally asking for advice. And so I invite them to the 2 low carb groups around here. Yeah.
I'd like to start one here. I put feelers out, but I haven't got anywhere with it. Perhaps I should join the collaboration.
Yes, yeah. We don't have anybody in Devon, I don't think. We
well, you can always put
cover a lot of the country. Devon and Cornwall seem a bit reluctant. Parts of Scotland, we're not really.
Well,
a lot of the rest of the country seems, quite well covered.
I have had some successes this way privately.
Yeah.
Of people that have come to me, mostly with cancer.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because
which is another big subject, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it is a metabolic disease.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that is a thing that if you're talking to an everyday person that is not really into it, they just see the newspaper with their articles and they're saying, they're always saying something different. 1 minute you can eat this and the next minute you can't, and all that. And you say something like metabolic disease, and really they just look at you as if you're from another planet.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So try a little bit. I'll come in with you, but you come in a little bit and say what you think that is.
Metabolic disease. Conditions caused not by something that's contagious, like a lot of the diseases at the turn of the last century.
So a chronic disease.
Yes, that we've sort of created ourselves by what we're eating, by our lifestyles, whether it is lack of sleep, stress, lack of exercise, that type of thing. But I think the big one is diet, definitely. I think that's what's fueled all of the chronic diseases we've now got. So type 2 diabetes, obesity, a lot of cancers, Alzheimer's. I mean, we're starting to call that type 3 diabetes now.
Exactly.
I mean, Amy Berger's done some excellent research on that.
She has indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, anybody with dementia or early stage Alzheimer's really needs to buy her book, because it's absolutely spot on. There
are so many good books out there.
Definitely.
I think we should put a list up on our group.
Yeah, definitely.
In the thing of some of the better ones. Not better, no. They're easier to understand, first of all.
Yeah.
The group, although we've got people in it that are very knowledgeable, we get people in who are complete beginners, and they just want something that's very, very simple.
Yeah.
On that, if I could come in on metabolic, I've been studying it quite deeply lately, and if I sort of say everything comes down to cell level.
Yeah.
And in our cells are things called mitochondria.
Yeah.
Which are our batteries, our energy power place. And they can go wrong quite easily with the wrong fuels. And what we've been doing is putting the wrong fuels into them. And I did it for 60, 70 years.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that I've managed to get as well as I am. But we've been putting the wrong fuel in the sense that all food is food and will help give you energy, but some of them burn better than others.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, isn't it?
Yes. And so if we can, what happens is that the mitochondria goes wrong, then the cell goes wrong. All sorts of things can go wrong. And this is sort of over and over will lead to one or other of these chronic diseases, or more than one.
Yeah.
Diabetes 2 being the one that most people talk about.
Yeah.
And the one that we run across mostly. Would you not say, when you're talking to people, when you meet somebody, the thing that's wrong more often than not is diabetes 2?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. In the 2 local carb groups that I'm involved with, the majority of the people are there because they're type 2 diabetic rather than anything else. I mean, we have a few people there with heart disease, people who want to lose weight, but on a whole, I would say,
Yes. So what? My husband's creeping around to not make a noise, making me laugh. Anyway, get back to subject. Yes, I find that I go out, and you may only have a quick word with someone in passing, and the next thing you know, you're finding out that they're diabetic.
Yeah.
And have you got the time? What can you say when you meet somebody like that? And my usual thing is, well, just try to not eat so much processed food. Yeah.
The easiest thing is to say, just eat real food. So if you go shopping,
but they don't know what you mean by that.
No,
they don't. No, they don't.
I basically say, if it comes in a box or a packet, it's not real food.
Not real food. Yes.
Yeah, you can go. You buy a piece of steak; it doesn't have an ingredient list on it. Cauliflower doesn't have a list of ingredients on it. But everything in the middle of the supermarket does. So Basically, if you eat meat, fish, veg, you're not going to go far wrong.
I think that you've obviously got to grips with not only understanding what the problem is, but are doing a good job trying to get it out to ordinary people in an ordinary way. I know that sounds excellent, the groups and things that you're doing, and trying to do this just to show people that, I mean, we can see lots of things on the internet that is doctor this and doctor that and PhD this and PhD. Well, neither of us are that, are we?
No.
Well, I'm just an ordinary.
Yeah. And a lot of the ambassadors for the PHC are just ordinary people.
Just ordinary people.
They've come to it because of a health condition that they've had, and
exactly,
and found the information and want to give something back.
Yeah. I have to say that mine was IBS.
Yeah.
I've never, luckily, touch wood, never been diabetic.
Right.
Or anywhere towards it.
Yeah.
Fat, yes.
Right.
I've lost a lot of that. I'm quite good now. I'm still going down, still working on that very slowly. But yes, so you know, there are all sorts of things. So let's try and enumerate a few things so that if somebody does come into this that happens across, because we can put it up as this is just ordinary people talking. IBS, it's irritable bowel syndrome. Mm-hmm. Not eating bread cured it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
After 40 years.
Yeah.
So give us another one that would be a chronic disease.
Well, I mean, the obvious one is diabetes.
Diabetes, yes.
And not, type 2, obviously.
Yes. But even type 1 can be helped by this diet.
Yeah. Right. We have some type 1s in our group, and they've, considerably reduced their insulin that they have to inject. Yeah. But type 2 can be reversed in 8 weeks, I would have said. Yeah. Once you remove the grains and the sugars from your diet, cut down on the starchy root veg.
And it's not as hard as you might think to do that.
Not at all. No.
It 2 or 3 weeks, and you suddenly realise, what the heck was I doing eating those silly things?
Yeah. I notice it with bread. If I eat bread now, we went on holiday once, and we bought a loaf of bread to have with us as breakfast, some toast. We thought, a week's not going to cause any problems. By Wednesday, I got my back pain back, and that was just by eating a couple of slices of bread in the morning. So
back pain's not so bad. When I eat bread, I'm rushing to the loo.
Yeah.
That is not fun.
No.
Then another of the not so, the really worst ones is cancer.
Yeah.
Is one, and as you mentioned before, Alzheimer's and all those things.
Yeah.
Now, can I bring in another one that people wouldn't think of, and that is to do with children.
Right. Okay.
That many of the children that are on these awful things that are given for food have ADHD.
Yes, I have read that. Yeah.
And when they are given a clear diet, excuse me, I've got a tickle. When are given a clear diet, teachers will ask, what drug have you put your child on? Because they're so good now in class, where they have been absolutely rioting,
Okay, so we're going to wrap things up with that. We have had a slight technical issue with the recording. I'd like to say thank you to Julie for doing this. We will be doing a few more in the future. Anybody wants any more information on the public health collaboration, I will put the link in the show notes below. And just to remind you that we are having a Real Food Festival, July the 20th at Brathay Hall in Ambleside in the Lake District. Tickets are £10 each, and you can find them at realfoodrocks.co.uk. And thanks for watching.